fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Tuesday night that finds us another day removed from the end of the Jaguar season. Is it weird to anybody else that the Jaguars are not playing any more games? You know, I think the initial shock of the loss Sunday kind of turned into a, depression, football depression, if you will, yesterday. And now you kind of get up this morning, you start your Tuesday. People were talking about big divisional weekend matchups coming up and not talking about Jacksonville. It's kind of the reality of the situation that we have gotten ourselves into. The season is over. What a season it was, no doubt about that. But, man, just ended what seems to be way too soon. Look, I always love having this guy on my program because I think he gives us a great blueprint at the Jaguar offseason outlook. His name is Mike Ginnitti. He's the owner and the founder of the website SpotTrack. Now, if you're not familiar, SpotTrack's been doing it for a long time. They're great 365 days of the year, but particularly when it comes to NFL offseason, salary cap situations, contract status, dead cap money, projections on what free agents are going to make. I mean, you name it. SpotTrack has got it. And the guy that owns and founded the website, Mike Ginnitti, I always get him on right after the Jaguar season ends to do an off-season blueprint for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I was expecting, or I guess hoping, that I would have Mike on, the second week of February. But Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills changed those plans a little bit. So we will have Mike on tonight. Now that the season is over, we will talk about the Jaguars salary cap situation. We will talk about the dead cap money on the books coming into this offseason. We will talk about extensions for Trayvon Walker, for Brenton Strange, for Parker Washington, potentially Antonio Johnson. All of those guys are up for extensions this year. And yeah, we will talk about impending free agency of Greg Newsome, of Monteric Brown, and certainly Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne. Jaguar fans, I think you will really enjoy the conversation. I think you might learn some things, and maybe your opinion will get changed on what you think Jacksonville should or should not do. Mike Ginnitti, the owner and the founder of SpotTrack, joins us coming up here a little after 8:30 this evening. Also, Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 will stop by in the 9 o'clock hour to review the season that was. Take a brief look ahead to the offseason as well. And we will go to Gainesville later on in the 9 o'clock hour. Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com. John Sumrall cooking in the transfer portal, right? Eric Singleton, one of the best wide receivers in the portal, on his way to Florida. Sumrall was able to keep Dallas Wilson and Vernell Brown, Jaden Baugh, Miles Graham, Jaden Woods. Some cause for optimism for what the University of Florida football program is putting together. And we will talk about that with Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com down in Gainesville. Speaking of Gainesville as well, some late-night Florida Gator hoops in Norman, Oklahoma this evening. Tip-off a little after 9 o'clock between the Gators and the Sooners. Florida, back-to-back SEC wins over Georgia and Tennessee. They are back in the top 25, ranked 19th overall, and they have a test on the road tonight out in Norman, taking on Oklahoma beginning a little after 9 o'clock Eastern time. So we're glad you're with us on a Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. every night on HAD, we do kick it off with the big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
on Hacker After Dark.
You know, as I said at the top, it's just surreal almost. It's kind of reality is setting in that this Jaguar football season is over, right? Sunday night, it was like shock and awe, you know? Yesterday, it's just kind of like you're in a fog. What happened? And now today, as the rest of the league begins turning the page to Buffalo and Denver and Houston and New England and Seattle, San Francisco, and the Rams and the Bears, we're stuck here knowing that the season's over. Is it an opportunity squandered? And we have a season-ending press conference tomorrow down at the Miller Electric Center from head coach Liam Cohen and general manager James Gladstone. You know, football fans here in Jacksonville, and we talked about this a lot during the year, you guys put up with a lot of nonsense for basically the last 15 years. You put up with a lot of ridiculous things that happen, bad hires, awful draft picks, even worse free agents, loss after loss after loss, Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. I think that is what made this year so much fun for everybody involved. I genuinely had a great time covering, following, and watching this football team this year. It was fun. As I told you guys Sunday night during the fifth quarter, you know, the Jaguars, for many years, wasn't a lot of fun watching this product. I'm sure it wasn't a lot of fun for you to go to the games and sit there and watch your team get their head beat in time after time after time. Wasn't the case this year, man. This year was fun. This year was as enjoyable a season as we've had in a long time. A long time. I would say this year was more enjoyable than 2022. I would say probably this year was more enjoyable than 2017. You may have to go back to 2007 to find a year that was as fun watching Jaguar football as it was this year. And I think that's because this city, you the fans, we in the media, all of us, we're never going to take winning for granted here. We've lost so much in franchise history, particularly in the last 20 years, that winning will never be taken for granted here. Look at a town like Pittsburgh, who Mike Tomlin just stepped down as their head coach earlier today after 19 years. People have been openly criticizing Mike Tomlin for winning 8, 9, 10 games per year. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine a world where for the next decade plus, the next 15 years, Jacksonville would win 8, 9, or 10 games every single season? Where do I sign, man? Where do I sign? We're used to losing 12, 13, or 14 games every single season. To think that a coach would be criticized for going 10-7 or 11-6, I don't personally live in that world. Now, maybe after 15 years, my opinion might change, but just thinking about it on the surface, I think the reason I enjoyed this season so much, I think the reason you probably enjoyed this season so much is because in Jacksonville, Florida, we were used to losing. We had grown accustomed to following a losing franchise, a losing culture. That was our reality. And then all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, man, the blink of an eye, we get Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, and Tony Baselli in here, win 13 games. And it was as much fun as I've ever had, or certainly had in a long, long time following the Jacksonville Jaguars. Will they win 13 games next year? Who knows? I would tend to doubt it. That's probably difficult. But even if there is regression, even if they regress to 11 or 10 or dare I say 9 wins, right? I don't think we're going to take it for granted. Because we've grown so accustomed to 3-14 or 1-15 or 4-13 that we as a market, a media, a fan base, all of us, unlike many other NFL markets out there, we won't take winning for granted. We understand what it's like to be on the mat year after year after year. And it felt really good to be on the top rope this season. If we go back down to the second or the third rope, I'd be totally fine with that. But what I don't expect to happen is what happened in 2017 and what happened in 2022. The bottom falling out the following year in 18 and 23. That, to me, will not happen. We're going to talk to Mike Ginnitti, the owner and the founder of Spot Track, about the offseason blueprint of the Jaguars coming up here in just a little bit. But I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, the awfulness, the despair of the last almost 2 decades of ineptitude, I think is gone. Will they win 13 games every year? No, of course not. But I don't believe they're going to go back to what they have been either. I think they are going to be in competition every year for a wild card spot, if not the division, which is a great spot for all of us to be in because, again, unlike a lot of NFL markets, like a Pittsburgh, like a Baltimore, who have gotten spoiled by winning, we here in Jacksonville will never take winning for granted after what we've been through over the last 20 years. 641-1010 on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Your thoughts are always welcome. Coming up next, let's look around the National Football League. Let's talk about some of these division matchups, and let's talk about Mike Tomlin no longer being the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. A week after John Harbaugh is no longer the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. Those guys competed against each other in the AFC North for 18 years. They're gone together in a span of 7 days. Wild times in the NFL. 9 times. Ferris Bueller, 9 current NFL head coaching vacancies. Whew. It is going to be a crazy couple of weeks on the NFL coaching carousel. More on the National Football League. Mike Ginnitti, the owner and founder of Spot Track, 20 minutes away right here on a Tuesday night in Jacksonville, Florida. It's Hacker After Dark.
Get hit by the man in the back, Tommy Mack.
I'm bringing you straight to the gridiron to show you what it's like to put on the Jags helmet and pads.
Fridays on Jaguars Today. Unlocked by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here for the best weight loss program I've ever been on. You know, I got a lot of buddies last year I was talking to, and they were saying, you know, how did you lose 100 pounds? Did the shots hurt? What kind of pills did you take? Tell me about Awaken 180. And I said, whoa, pump the brakes, guys. There are no shots, right? There are no pills. You get a coach. You get a real coach that you talk to every week, that you check in with and talk about things coming up in your life. They make a plan for you. They tell you, okay, do this, do that. And if you follow their guidance, the weight will completely fall off. I'm living proof of that. I lost over 100 pounds. No needles, no medication, just a genuine, great program with Awaken 180 weight loss. Call 844-346-1800 or go to 180weightloss.com.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. When you need a trailer hitch, gooseneck, or RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We've been doing it for 55 years, and customer service is our #1 priority. Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Helmets and Heels calls on Jags former middle linebacker Tom McManus to elevate your afternoon.
He's the best. Guy's got it all.
Catch the pros' point of view afternoons 2 to 4 on 1010XL. Fought for you by Green Law Group. For the injured, fighting for you.
Ready to race Jacksonville? Indoor racing anytime at K1 Speed. Fast electric karts, real competition, and family fun. Buy 2 races, get 1 free every Tuesday. Cruise over to K1 Speed Jacksonville today. Your top destination for indoor racing.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
It's January. You turn on the hot water, expecting steam, and you get let down. That's usually a sign your tankless water heater is loaded with mineral buildup, slowing it down and wearing it out before it's time. So Duck Rooter is kicking the new year off strong with a Start Fresh Tankless Flush. Their experienced technicians flush and clean your tankless system, restoring performance and getting you back in the game. Right now, get your tankless water heater flushed and cleaned for just $99, 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
If your home doesn't have a fireplace, CSS can install a beautiful electric or gas fireplace from Heat & Glow with no major remodel required. See their showroom or CSSOutdoor.com for a free estimate. CSS, you dream it, we build it.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal. Is that a turtleneck?
Can't you feel it, Jason? There's a chill in the air. A definite nip.
I mean, it is January.
In Jacksonville, Jason. I didn't come here for cold.
Well, I wouldn't call this.
Cold weather gives me the sniffles. Sniffles turns to pneumonia. Suddenly, I'm in a hospital bed with a tube down my throat because Florida didn't get the memo about ignoring winter.
So, switch over to heat.
What if my system can't remember how to heat?
Dude, put on these sunglasses.
Whoa.
Bueller Air & Plumbing can make sure your system is ready to switch from cooling to heat. We'll clean your heating coil to get rid of that burning dust smell and make sure you have the coolant pressure to keep your heat pump pumping out the heat.
Huh, I had no idea these sunglasses worked in the winter.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
When your home or business deserves more than ordinary glass, you trust the experts. Capital Glass and Shower Doors has been elevating spaces for over 40 years with precision, craftsmanship, and clean, modern design. From sleek frameless shower enclosures to elegant glass railings, wine cabinets, and any custom glass that makes a statement, Capital Glass delivers unmatched quality, service, and attention to detail. Your vision, their expertise. Capital Glass and Shower Doors at capcoglass.com.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Playoff football calls for the grill. The January Rancher Box from local Fair Jacks is packed with pasture-raised beef, free-range chicken, and pork. All local, all delivered. Stock up for game day at localfairjacks.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Glad you're with us on a Tuesday. We'll do a blueprint for the Jaguar offseason coming up in 15 minutes. The owner and founder of Spot Track, Mike Ginnetti, joins us here on Hacker After Dark. Well, sadly, the AFC divisional playoffs, the NFC divisional playoffs getting underway on Saturday. Obviously not involving Jacksonville. Boy, the Buffalo Bills, they did get the business schedule-wise. They have a hard-fought game here where they lost not one, but two wide receivers with torn ACLs. You see that? We knew about Gabe Davis, the former Jaguar, who tore his ACL. How about Shavers, 14, the wide receiver who got hurt in the first half, came back in and played 22 plays in the second half? Apparently, he did that with a torn ACL. Now, that, to me, raises some questions as to how that was, A, physically possible, and B, why the Bills let him come back in. Was there not an MRI done? I have no idea. But, yeah, apparently, one of the Bills' wide receivers tore his ACL in the second quarter. I remember when he left the game, he caught a big play there in the second quarter and left. Saw him walking up the ramp. Comes back in the second half, come to find out, torn ACL, out for the year. Whew. So Buffalo is going to be minus two wide receivers. Keep in mind, they're already without Joshua Palmer. He did not play here last week. And they have to go to Denver on Saturday at 4:30. The Bills actually had to release an injury report today. Josh Allen and Sean McDermott had to do their media today because today's their normal Wednesday because they have to travel on Friday and play on Saturday. I said this last night. If I'm Buffalo, if I'm San Francisco, and if I'm Houston, I am fuming. Because the NFL is putting me at a complete and total disadvantage. Now, maybe you say the argument is, well, none of those teams won their division, so who cares? All right, well, I hear you, I guess. But because of Monday Night Football, and because you want to put games on Saturday, you got Buffalo, San Francisco, and Houston all on short weeks going into the AFC divisional playoffs. Is that fair? I don't know. But I wouldn't be happy if I'm the Bills, the 49ers, or the Texans. But I guess you could also say, well, the alternative is that you're not playing, like the Jaguars. As far as the games go, interesting that Buffalo eliminated Denver on Wild Card Weekend last year in Orchard Park. Now they have to go back to Denver, the rested number one seed. If Buffalo pulls this one out, I don't know what to tell you at that point. They are limping in. That Jaguar game took a lot out of them, make no mistake about it. And if they go to Mile High and beat the Broncos, that would be quite the deal. Saturday night, San Francisco goes to Seattle. Same thing, right? San Francisco has been without Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. They're now without George Kittle. They haven't had Brandon Ayuk the entire year. And they just keep winning, man. They just keep winning. They go to Philly and win. Their reward now is going to play Seattle. A lot of pressure on Sam Darnold. We've been here before with Sam Darnold. Good regular season, not a very good postseason. Can San Francisco do it again? Of those two teams on Saturday on the road, Buffalo at Denver, San Francisco at Seattle, I don't know who I would take. I mean, on the surface, it looks like the home team's got a big advantage, but I just got a sense that one of those road teams is going to win on Saturday. As far as Sunday goes, Houston goes to New England. Houston may be without Nico Collins, probably will be. In the win last night, and Houston demolished Pittsburgh. But in that win, Houston lost Nico Collins to a concussion. He's in the protocol. Odds are he's not getting out of the protocol in 5 days. So one would think they're going to have to do it without their best offensive player or playmaker. But hey, kudos to Christian Kirk. Former Jaguar was a big reason why Houston won that game. Texans at Patriots, Sunday, 3:30. And then Sunday at 6:30, you got the Rams at the Bears. Boy, if you're Chicago, you hope this thing is nasty. You hope the weather is awful. You hope the wind is howling. You got to occupy Stafford in that passing game. You know, that's another thing too, right? Explain this to me. Chicago and LA both played on Saturday last week. Why wouldn't they play on Saturday this week? Instead, they get 8 days off, where San Francisco only gets 6 days off. I guess that's a reward to the number one seed. I don't know. But that was weird scheduling. But nevertheless, the Rams at the Bears. You got to like the Rams, but again, with that weather and those field conditions in Chicago, could that level the playing field? And the Bears have to feel like they're becoming a team of destiny, right? I mean, you think of some of the wild ways they have won games here in the last month and a half, including coming back from 21-3 against their arch rival in the Green Bay Packers last week. Chicago probably feels like they are a team that it might be their time. And when you're a confident team like that, that's hard to beat. But on paper, 4 really good divisional games. Again, Buffalo, Denver, San Francisco, Seattle on Saturday, Houston, New England, and then the Rams and the Bears on Sunday. Big news out of the National Football League today. Mike Tomlin, 19 years on the job with the Pittsburgh Steelers, tells his team at 2 o'clock this afternoon he is stepping down. Obviously, Tomlin had been thinking about this for a while. His team got eliminated at 11 o'clock last night. 15 hours later, he tells his team he's stepping down. Now, you say, well, Mike Tomlin, could he go to Miami? Could he go to Atlanta, Tennessee, dare I say Baltimore? Wouldn't that be interesting? Well, he's stepping away. He did not get fired, so he's under contract to the Steelers for 2 more years. If a team wants to hire Mike Tomlin, they're going to have to compensate Pittsburgh with something, most likely draft picks. That's one thing to think about. Another is there's been a rumor for a little bit now that Mike Tomlin may have a television job waiting on him. Fox has not replaced Jimmy Johnson. CBS is losing Matt Ryan, who is now the president of the Atlanta Falcons. 2 jobs open right there for pregame studio work. I would imagine Fox is more likely, although wouldn't it be interesting for Tomlin to go to CBS and have he and Bill Cowher on the same studio show? By the way, the next coach that Pittsburgh hires, it'll be their 4th head coach dating back to 1969. That is insane. 57 years of Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. And the Steelers, for the first time in almost 2 decades, have entered the NFL coaching search. They're joined by 8 other teams. There are 9 jobs that are open, 3 in the AFC North alone. Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore. Speaking of Cleveland, I would imagine most of you have heard this by now. If not, Jaguar offensive coordinator Grant Udinski is going to interview in Cleveland for that job. Udinski just turned 30 years of age. Still nothing that I've seen on Anthony Campanile being requested for an interview, which I find interesting. You would have thought if that was going to happen, it would have happened by now. I would root for both of those guys to get head coaching jobs. Obviously, I want both of them back. That goes without saying, but you would love to see Campanile or Udinski, two good guys, two good coaches that help turn this team around, get an opportunity as a head coach. You would just like to see it maybe in a year or two. You would love, at least I would love to bring the band back, Cohen, Udinski, and Campanile, here in 2026. What about the player personnel that the Jaguars are going to bring back? The impending free agents. What about guys that are up for contract extensions this offseason? We know Trayvon Walker, Parker Washington, Brenton Strange, Antonio Johnson. We know those guys are going to be here in 2026. The question is, will they be free agents after 2026, or do they get contract extensions this offseason? What we don't know are the futures of guys like Greg Newsome, Monteric Brown, Devin Lloyd, Travis Etienne. What about a guy like Walker Little? Is there any trade value there? What about a guy like Brian Thomas Jr.? We're going to talk about all of it with a guy that does this for a living, runs the best website out there when it comes to the salary cap, dead cap money, contract projections. If you're an NFL fan, when it comes to the offseason, Spot Track has been the website for years. The man that founded it and that owns it is Mike Ginnetti, and he joins us next to talk all things Jaguar offseason. The owner of Spot Track, Mike Ginnetti, next on a Tuesday night here in Jacksonville. It's Hacker After Dark.
There's a reason play-by-play has been on the radio for more than 100 years.
There's a drive, way back, it might be, it could be, and
Your home for live play-by-play is 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Since 1927, Jacksonville has trusted Coil Fencing to protect what matters. And I trust them too. From tough chain link to your commercial project to sleek aluminum fencing your HOA will love, Coil does it all. Did you know that Coil can also install, service, and maintain those automatic gates that help protect your neighborhood or business? To schedule a complimentary consultation, visit CoilJacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com. Coil Fencing, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Next time you head into a Gate convenience store, look for Form Energy Drink, designed to provide energy, hydration, and focus, straight from Dana White and AB, celebrating those who embrace grit, discipline, and resilience in their everyday lives. Check out Form Energy at a Gate convenience store.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman. We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
Happy New Year, sports fans. Hicken here, and let's keep the skincare talk going while we ring in the new year. You know it's winter, a little cold outside. That sun is still shining, so let's always be reminded to take care of our skin. Beaches Dermatology now has a new location open in Fernandina. So if you live just a little north of Duval, you can now see the pros at Beaches Dermatology without having to make the drive to Jax. Go online to beachesdermatology.com to book your skincare appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
It may be winter in Northeast Florida, but it's one of the most important times to protect your lawn. Prosser here for Julington Creek Pest Control. Their winterizer strengthens roots and improves cold tolerance. pre-emergent treatments stop spring weeds before they ever start. What that means is you set the stage for a thicker, greener lawn when spring arrives. Call today to schedule your winter lawn treatment with Julington Creek Pest Control. Our family serving yours since 1984.
What racehorse won the Belmont Stakes by 31 lengths? The answer next.
When your homeowner's insurance policy is up for renewal, it's a good idea to shop around to find a better plan. Southern Oak Insurance for over 20 years provides Floridians a clear option. SouthernOak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Secretariat won the Triple Crown in 73, including winning the Belmont by 31 lengths.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. We're your local family jeweler for 46 years in Jacksonville with a huge selection of diamonds, gemstones, and pre-owned Rolex watches. And Monahan Jewelers is your store for expert jewelry repair turned around in 1 or 2 days. Most jewelry stores take 2 weeks or more, and many stores send your jewelry somewhere else for repair. At Monahan Jewelers, our jewelry repair is done in-house by expert craftsmen, and Monahans can turn around most repairs in a day or two. So bring your jewelry repair to Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your national builder of the year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% and homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
Hey, it's Brent with Arcosa Crushed Concrete. If you've got concrete or asphalt rubble on your site, let me buy it from you, and I will recycle it into construction material for your future projects. Arcosa Crushed Concrete. Get paid for what you don't need.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguar season came to an end on Sunday, a 27-24 loss to the Buffalo Bills, but you can't dwell on it for too long. We're already in the middle portion of January. The scouting combine, less than 2 months away. Free agency, about 2 months away, as the Jaguars have a lot of tough decisions to make here in the coming weeks. One of the guys we always go to when it comes to the salary cap and an offseason outlook for the Jaguars is Mike Ginnetti of Spot Track. He is the co-founder and the owner of Spot Track, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, how we doing, man?
Very good. Just kind of pushing through this offseason that's already here for many of these NFL teams, but good to be back with you, man.
Yeah, I always enjoy having you on. I wanted to talk to you about 3 or 4 weeks from now, as opposed to talking to you after Wild Card Weekend. Certainly a tough loss for Jacksonville. Quickly, before we dive into the salary cap and all that stuff, Mike, just your overall thoughts on the Jaguar season that was in 2025.
Incredible turnaround, right? This is a team that ranks 6th in dead cap because of the offseason aggressiveness of both adding and subtracting in various ways. They're going to carry some of that dead cap into 2026, so still some work to do. But, when you bring in a brand new regime from top to bottom and you're trying to resuscitate a quarterback that you invested a heck of a lot into, to have this kind of success immediately has to have people on cloud 9 heading into 2026, especially with the options that are available here.
All right, let's dive into those options. Again, Spot Track. First off, let's start there. I would imagine most people listening tonight, Mike, know about Spot Track. For the ones that do not, boy, it's always a great resource, but particularly this time of year with you guys and what you know about the cap and analyzing every team's situations.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're going team by team right now, so that's kind of the thing to watch. As these NFL teams are eliminated from the postseason, we're pushing out off-season previews with all these estimates and players to watch for and extension candidates and breakdowns. So it's if you follow teams closely, it's probably a good time to jump on a Spot Track to find your favorite team.
All right, big picture. Jaguars overall coming into the 2026 offseason, how do they look from a salary cap perspective as it stands right now?
Right now, they're kind of right up against it. About $5 million a room initially, but that's going to dwindle a little bit when some of these practice squad players are signed back to reserve contracts. So there's work to do. There's work that's available, though, right? You can certainly convert some of these salaries into signing bonuses and free up, 20 to 30 million. Just in that regard, and then we start talking about bubble players and things like that to get ourselves, safe for free agency in the draft. But I wouldn't say they're going to be flush with cap space at any point in time. It's just one of those situations where they have added bigger contracts the past couple of seasons, and many of those are working out now. So not going to be the most aggressive team free agency-wise, but there's certainly other channels to utilize right now.
Now, the Jaguars sort of got ahead of this in the last couple of weeks with extending both Jakobi Meyers and Cole Van Lanen. First and foremost, Mike, your thoughts on those contracts and how that affects what the Jaguars can and cannot do.
The Myers one seems like the perfect definition of 2025 for the Jaguars, which is we're going to push a button and it's going to give us immediate impact. And that's exactly what Myers has been in his short time there, which justifies, a $30 million guarantee on his extension here, basically through the 2027 season. So you've added another ample weapon at really a mid-tier cost for a player that could give you above average production. Good start there. And then obviously, with Van Lanen in the left tackle situation, you're kind of band-aiding a Walker Little mistake that I think you can account for in the next couple of weeks here. But again, you've got a left tackle at below second-tier price here. And if he works out in this new scheme, which it seems like he fits well, you're going to have some value there, at least for the next couple of seasons before the really start to get big.
Mike Ginnetti, the owner and the co-founder of Spot Track, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville, laying out a blueprint for the Jaguar offseason. You mentioned Walker Little, and it's funny you did that because we were actually talking about that last night. What, if anything, can the Jaguars do about that contract moving forward?
It's such a primary preem position still. I do think you're going to find somebody who wants to take a chance on him. Look, they've been down this road with Cam Robinson the past couple of years, right? I do think there are teams that will take chance to resuscitate some of these left tackles, even if they have to move them across the other side of the field a little bit here. But you've got a 1-year guarantee on this thing. It's a 1 year and $12 million. There are way bigger risks that teams will try to take this offseason than taking a flyer on that. So I think it's the trade, maybe a couple players on the trade block for Jacksonville, but I think primarily you start with him because you have replaced him on the roster with the extension for Van Lanen, and this is just one of those positions that moves every single offseason.
If there were to be other players that you mentioned, potential trade candidates, Walker Little and his contract might be the biggest one. Anything else that jumps out to you about guys that are still under contract?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a hot take, but I think there's relevancy to talk about Brian Thomas Jr. just because he did start off with such a rocky start to this new scheme and sort of ended up somewhere in the middle in terms of targets and availability. Look, he's got a ton of value on this rookie contract still, but there's not a first round pick to have in 2026 because of what happened last year with Travis Hunter. How that Hunter situation shakes out positionally has a big impact on this as well. But if you can get yourself a top 100, maybe even a top 60 draft pick for Brian Thomas Jr., it's at least worth taking phone calls for right now, especially because you've added Myers into the fold on a 2-year guarantee.
Mike Ginnetti, the owner and the co-founder of Spot Track. I want to ask you about this year's free agents, but there's a lot of work to do. Let's begin with Trayvon Walker. We know he will be here in 2026. The question is, Mike, will he have a brand new contract at the beginning of 2026?
It's a 50-50 call on my part. I really struggled with this one when I did the offseason piece for Jacksonville because he really has made a nice turn. But is that turn reliable? Is it consistent enough? Can it go to another level? Can he stay healthy to the point of where $20 million a year is worthy of their time? He's not quite there yet. He's about a $16 million player in our system. If he's willing to take something around that, like a 4 for 64 with 2 of those guaranteed, I think Jacksonville signs that dotted line right now. My guess is he wants to bet on himself. So you're looking at a situation where you play out the 5th-year option. Maybe there's a franchise tag to tender next February if you need to, but I think you let this one play out for one more season.
And there's 2 guys that are now 3 years into the league that both made giant jumps this year. They're eligible for extensions, Brenton Strange and Parker Washington. What are your thoughts there?
No question. 2 of the most exciting offensive weapons in the league right now in terms of, coming out of nowhere. You probably have to touch both these contracts right now because they're going to get some boosts in terms of how the rookie arbitration stuff works. So they'll probably be sitting with $4 to $5 million salaries regardless of whether you extend them or not. With Washington, you're looking at a situation where you can probably get him close to $60 million over the next 4 years, and that'll still feel like some value if he continues to graduate forward a little bit here. And with Strange, I don't think he's ever going to live to that top tier tight end market, but if you can get him on a $12 million deal right now, which is kind of the going rate for that up and coming tight end, while this cap pushes forward to $300 million, that's going to have some value over the next 2 years as well. So strike early, strike while you can. Everything's kind of feeling good on the offensive side of the ball there. So I'd lock these players up for 2 to 3 year guarantees whenever possible.
Final thought about guys that are under contract before we get to the free agent class. Any thought about Antonio Johnson, extending him this offseason?
Yeah, it's a nice player there. He's going to have a little bit of a mix of starting/depth role, which hopefully you can get some value financially for a player like that. But man, he's almost like a closer where he comes in and does exactly what you're asking him to do at the right time. That's got some value to it on the open market. So I would look at a player like that at around the $7 to $10 million per year mark. But I could see the agent saying, no, we're gonna punt on that and let 5 other teams value him first.
Mike Ginnetti, the owner and the founder of Spot Track. All right, guys that are scheduled to become free agents in about 2 months. Let's begin with Greg Newsome, the man they acquired from Cleveland in that trade for Tyson Campbell. Up and down for Greg Newsome. He's a guy that probably is going to want to get paid pretty significantly. What's your thought on Greg Newsome?
Yeah, I just don't have the consistency numbers-wise to get math to work in his favor right now. I've only got him at about $9 million a year, Ryan. So I don't know that he wants that on a multi-year contract. But his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, has done much better work with much riskier players. Let's put it that way. So if we're pushing this thing into the 14 to 15 per year mark, I think Jacksonville probably says no to that. But if this is a player looking to reset his value a little bit and get himself on like a showcase situation for 1 year, a return to Jacksonville and a defense that clearly has been cooking here does make a little bit of sense. So I'd be looking for that if I'm Jacksonville, but if he's looking for a multi-year guarantee, he probably hits the open market.
Another defensive back that I know the fan base wants back, but doesn't make sense financially is Monteric Brown.
Whew. Look, this one's weird because I know this guy doesn't have the stats that go with near, mid-tier of cornerback money, but our math keeps telling me $15 million a year. And I know that sounds big for a 7th rounder, I could see it landing a little bit lower than that, especially if he wants to return to this Jacksonville defense. But right now, he's got a lot of things in his corner, including the calculations of our algorithm. So if a team wants to go big and try to make him their number one option on the left side of the field, it could be about $15 million a year, but we'll see where it all ends up there.
Couple of more from Mike Ginnetti, the owner and the founder of Spot Track. All right, and the 2 biggest ones. Let's begin on the defensive side of the ball with linebacker Devin Lloyd. The Jaguars did not give him the 5th-year option. They are probably regretting that now, would be my assumption. Devin Lloyd's going to get paid this offseason by somebody.
It's just one of the biggest comebacks from a rookie campaign and a rookie contract that we've had on this side of the ball. So, yeah, the option would have been $14.7 million. They declined that. He's now worth $20 million. He's now worth top of the market, off-ball linebacker money. How many years guaranteed remains to be seen, and which team is willing to go that route. But yeah, they missed on this one. But by the way, they're pretty happy to miss because this guy really took steps forward in all the right directions. They got the most squeeze out of that juice, and we'll see. This is a position that some teams opt to pay, some teams opt to never pay. So we'll see where Jacksonville lands in the next couple of weeks here.
Is the franchise tag accessible there for Devin Lloyd? Is that something you would look at if it were you?
It's not, because they haven't separated off-ball linebackers from edge defender linebackers in that franchise tag. So you're talking about a top-of-the-market edge defender price to keep Devin Lloyd on that franchise tag. And Jacksonville just doesn't have the cap space right now to take something on like that through February and March. So I don't think that's the route. It's just about, can you get this guy to come down a little bit on his price to stick around with the defense that he's clearly working in right now.
And the other big one is certainly Travis Etienne. What a year he had in Liam Cohen's system. He's still really young. He's going to turn, I believe, 27 at the end of this month. What do you think about Etienne's future?
Yeah, and again, not enough sample size at this kind of production to really give him a solid mathematical number. We've got him at about $7 million a year. There's a world where a team goes out there and says, let's start with 12. Okay, let's put this thing on the books and try to maximize his ceiling, which everybody knows exists. It's just a matter of getting this thing to be consistent and healthy and all that stuff at the right time. But again, if he likes where he is, if this is the right fit for him, Jacksonville's in a power to get some of these deals on team-friendly contracts right now because of their status and the scheme that is clearly working with some of these players. So math not in his favor. I think the team fit makes this thing maybe $7 to $9 million per year for the next couple of seasons.
Similar question I asked you about Devin Lloyd. What is the thought about a franchise tag being in play for ETN?
Doable, it's over the 10 million mark. If you're gonna price him on a multi-year contract somewhere else at that price, then maybe it's possible. But again, Jacksonville's in cap space trouble a little bit to start this season. So going up in cap to take on a tender like that, even as a placeholder, is a little bit reckless for them, and assuming that they want to bring in some other options to start March.
Big picture, we just threw a lot of numbers at the fan base. Those are the four big ones, right? Newsome, Brown, Lloyd, ETN. If it works out perfectly for Jacksonville, how many of the four could they bring back?
I always kind of cut it down the middle. If you bring back half of the free agents that you'd like to at least consider bringing back, I think you've had a successful offseason, because there's just so many ways to replace players right now, especially through the draft. And there is an ample draft pick class right coming out for many of these positions we're talking about. So I'd say 2 out of the 4 makes it successful, especially if those contracts have a little bit of team-friendly value to them.
All right, and you mentioned $5 million, and obviously based on your rankings, the Jaguars are in the bottom third of teams with cap room. But every year we see this, Mike, and you alluded to it earlier, $5 million becomes $20 million pretty quickly when you finagle contracts. Take us through that process.
Well, it's going to go down to about -10 in the next 24 to 48 hours here, because they brought back their practice squad players, which for the most part, every one of those players counts for about $1 million each. So there's going to be a bit of a shell shock over the next week here as some of these things are turned over, and then there'll be some restricted tenders that'll take it down even further. So there will be a moment where Jacksonville's going to have to actually make some movement here to get themselves cap neutral by March 11th. But like you said, there's a Trevor Lawrence conversion. There's, an Eric Armstead conversion or maybe extension. You've got a lot of players that are worth a darn on the defensive side of the ball that you could either tack on a year for cap purposes or simply just do a salary conversion with some void years for cap purposes. It remains to be seen how this new front office is going to handle those kind of structures, right? Will they be a void year team? Will they be a dead cap team? Or will they try to keep it closer to the book like Tampa Bay did, a team where some of this regime is coming from? So, it depends on how aggressive they want to be with those restructures, Ryan, but there's certainly a world where they can free up 20 to 25 over the course of the next few weeks and at least be healthy, if not ample, for free agency on March 11th.
Mike, as we wrap up, you mentioned some trade candidates. Are there any players on the roster when you were doing your Jaguar preview that you could just flat out cut and save a bunch of money?
I didn't find it. And it surprised me because I worked like heck to try to make it happen. I try to find 1 or 2 of each for every team. They did such a nice job of targeting those kind of players out of the gate. Look, there's a couple of tight ends behind Brenton Strange that I think you can move on from. Hunter Long has a guaranteed salary for 2026, so you're probably keeping him for 1 more year. You could probably move on from Johnny Munt, who can free up about $2.7 million. But he's a nice depth player for a situation where you need some blocking for your running game. I didn't have a big swinging release candidate this year because they were aggressively doing that all of June, July, and August in 2025. So work already done on that regard.
It's going to be a busy time for James Gladstone, no question about it. It's always a busy time for Mike Ginnetti over at Spot Track, the owner and the co-founder. Again, Mike, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, man, about your website and what they can look forward to as NFL free agency approaches.
Yeah, thanks. So all these numbers are spewing out here, all available in table format, and certainly we're spewing this stuff out on socials at Spot Track on all those networks as well, and doing some YouTube breakdowns of many of these contract situations, both new contracts and some of the current ones that may have to get finagled or traded or released over the next couple of weeks. So we're trying to keep up with as much of this rat race as humanly possible.
Mike, I know you're busy. Thank you so much for the time, and we'll talk later this offseason, pal.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Post-game Monday is like digesting a huge day of football.
Let's do this.
Expert analysis of Sunday's game all day.
It's not great. It's fantastic.
Sink your teeth into Dandy Foods Post-game Monday.
So delicious.
On 1010XL.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, the adorable chess man on the tracks.
There are 2 things you should ask yourself about your garage floor. How clean is it now, and how clean would you like it to be? A typical Behr concrete floor doesn't just collect dirt, it makes dirt.
It is literally made of dirt.
As much as you sweep and mop, the dust and grit just never ends.
And drips from your car seep into the pores, staining the concrete forever.
A Checkmate multi-layer floor resists drips and stains. It comes in your choice of dozens of colors and sweeps up sparkling clean in just seconds.
No need to wear shoes in the garage and track dirt back in the house.
Gorgeous?
Check. Durable?
Check. Tidy enough to walk on wearing clean white socks? Checkmate!
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit CheckmateCoatings.com. That's CheckmateCoatings.com.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
If you're thinking about getting a new roof sometime this year, Endless Summer Roofing can help. I'm Claudia, owner of Endless Summer Roofing. Stronger materials, expert installation, real peace of mind. A new roof isn't just an upgrade. It's the primary source of protection for your family home. Visit EndlessSummerRoofing.com for a free inspection today, and I'll make sure you're ready for tomorrow. Endless Summer Roofing. Protecting your home from Florida's endless summers.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at KeyBuickGMC.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On January 13th, 1999, Michael Jordan announces his second retirement just prior to the 98 season. He would later return to play in 2001 for the Washington Wizards.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Your home deserves more than just another coat of paint. It deserves quality that lasts. At First Coast Paint, you'll find premium Benjamin Moore products, trusted advice, and the local experts who help you get it right the first time. Whether it's your living room, your porch, or your whole house, First Coast Paint brings your paint project to life. Stores in St. John's and St. Augustine. One name Jacksonville Trust. Mention 1010XL for 10% off. First Coast Paint. Simply superior paint.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
When it comes to glass, you don't want average. You want flawless. Duval Glass and Mirror has transformed homes and businesses across Jacksonville for over 35 years. Frameless showers that wow. Mirrors cut exactly to your style. Fogged or broken glass replaced. Decorative tabletops. Windows replaced or repaired to stand up to Florida storms. All backed by a 100% guarantee. Visit DuvalGlass.com for your free quote. There's only one name for glass and mirror around these parts. It's Duval!
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, my buddy Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4, as we'll talk about the Jaguars season that was, take a look ahead to the off season that will be, and tomorrow should be a pretty interesting day down at the Miller Electric Center. The season-ending press conference for both head coach Liam Cohen and general manager James Gladstone. You know, it's funny thinking about it like this, but Cohen's work kind of goes to the back burner now, and now it's Gladstone's season, right? Because now it's Gladstone's turn with the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl and the Combine and when free agency comes about. And certainly Cohen and Baselli will have input, but James Gladstone's going to kind of come to the forefront. We haven't seen him in a press conference setting in a while. Now, the Jaguars have given ridiculous access. I don't know how many general managers are on their flagship radio station every week, like James Gladstone was with Jags HQ this week, but it will be the first time tomorrow anyway, that Gladstone gets some questions potentially about some off-season thinking. And then, look, I mean, the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama in a couple of weeks, Combine, and bam, free agency, all well inside of 2 months. And you also have to figure out about the franchise tag in the next, 4 to 6 weeks. That'll be, do you franchise Devin Lloyd? Do you franchise Travis Etienne? Do you franchise neither one of them? Certainly, that'll be one of the big topics coming up. So we'll talk about all of that. Jamal St. Cyr will also join us from Channel 4. And about 9:30 tonight, towards the bottom of the hour, Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com, as Florida getting ready for a basketball game coming up here in moments. We'll get to that in a moment. But from the football gridiron, the transfer portal has been very good for the Gators. Very good. Denmark, let me ask you something. With what John Sumrall has done in the portal, both retaining guys and bringing guys in, including Eric Singleton, who was a top 5 player in the portal nationally, is that a kudos to the work Sumrall does in the portal? Is that an indictment for the lack of portal work that Billy Napier did? Or is it maybe a combination of both?
I think it's more of, half of Georgia Tech's raw offense is going to come to Florida. So I think it's more of the players believing that Buster Faulkner, what he did at Georgia Tech, they believe him so much and they like so much what he did there, and they believe that's going to continue at Florida. I think most of it has to do with that. The roster retention, I don't know if it's obviously Summerall has a big piece of it, but I don't know, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much it is because of how much of it is money, or is it, they believe in him. I would say, guessing it would be 70% of it, that he should get the credit for it. But the Georgia Tech players, for most of them, I think it's more of the OC and believing what he did at Georgia Tech and then come to Florida.
If you would have told me, by the way, doesn't that Florida State game feel like forever ago? And college football is still not over. The national championship game is next Monday. The season started in Dublin, Ireland. Remember that? It was at Iowa State and Kansas State on August the 24th. And it finally comes to an end almost 5 months later on January 19th. But if you would have told me leaving Ben Hill Griffin Stadium that Saturday night when Florida's season ended after beating Florida State, that I had the assumption Lagway was probably going to go. I think we even talked about that before the game. I thought it was better for Florida and him. They just needed a parting of the ways, which happened. But if you would have told me Miles Graham, Jaden Woods, Jaden Baugh, Dallas Wilson, and Verno Brown would all be coming back with John Summerall in his first year as head coach, I probably would not have believed you. Those were the 5 that we all kind of talked about outside of Lagway, and those 5 are all back. So I think it is a great job by Summerall. No question about that. Speaking of Gator Hoops, they're tipping off basically right now out in Norman, Oklahoma. Late night game for the Gators by their standards anyway. 11-5 on the year, 2-1 in the SEC, coming off victories over ranked opponents in Georgia and Tennessee. Maybe finding themselves a little bit. The Georgia and the Tennessee games are their 2 biggest wins of the year. Remember, they had a lot of heartbreak in the non-conference early on to UConn and Duke and Arizona. Had a heartbreaker to Missouri, too, that they could have won. But they beat the brakes off of Georgia. They beat the brakes off of Tennessee. And it'll be really interesting now. Florida back into the top 25, ranked 19th in America as they travel out to Norman to take on Oklahoma. Look, the Gator backcourt has been the Achilles heel all year. The front court's been good a majority of the season. One of, if not the best front courts in America, with Condon and Houck. Ruben Chinulu, he had 17 points and 16 rebounds on Saturday against Tennessee. That guy's turning into a force. The question has been for a majority of the year to this point, can they shoot? Which they haven't been able to. Saturday against Tennessee, they shot a little bit. Boogie Flan was good. Xavier Lee was still off and on, but Boogie Flan was good. If Flan and Lee can do anything from the perimeter, Florida is a good team. Florida could make, a Sweet 16 run in the NCAA tournament. If Florida does not get any production shooting-wise from their backcourt, they can be beaten on any given night by any SEC team. But maybe it was the turning of a page. 2 really good wins over Georgia and Tennessee, and we'll see what the Gators do coming up right now, basically. They've just tipped off in Norman, Florida, and Oklahoma in SEC conference play. So Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com, joins me at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Coming up next, my buddy Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4. Let's talk about the Jaguar season that was. Let's review year number 1 for Liam Cohen, Tony Baselli, and James Gladstone. And let's take an ever so brief look ahead to the offseason and what may lie in store for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4 joins me next on a Tuesday night here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins DUI defense firm.
It's January in Jacksonville, so you turn on the shower knob expecting hot water. Comes up cold. That's a tough loss to start the day, but Duck Duck Rooter is here to turn things around with the new year. New water heater promotion. Duck Duck Rooter makes replacing that old water heater a winning play. Right now, get a new water heater installed for just $14.99 on select models with standard installation. Call now to schedule your free estimate and take the cold shower off the scoreboard. 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
This is Dave Barker with IHRS. Are you frustrated with those trendy pills and lotions that claim to make your hair thicker and fuller? Tired of your hair falling out? Our hair restoration solutions have helped over 10,000 men and women restore their hair in as little as 2 office visits.
Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477 or go to hairforme.com.
Hey folks, it's Frank Frangie. All those festive holiday feasts probably have added a few extra pounds, but here's the thing. You can make this the year you finally lose the weight safely and for good. Now, you know by now my daughter Amber kicked off the journey with Awaken 180 weight loss back in the summer. You ready for this? She's lost 100 pounds in 6 months. Man, is she proud of that. 100 pounds. And she really did it with this really, really good plan. There's no shots, no medications, no supplements, just real food and a proven plan. That's right, with Awaken 180, you can still enjoy your favorite food and drink. No more yo-yo diets or feeling deprived. The structured program empowers you to control your eating without hunger. It really is doable. Don't just resolve to make the change. Make the change. Call Awaken 180 today and take that first small step. Book your consultation now, 1-844-346-1800, or visit awaken180weightloss.com. It worked for Amber. It really did. And it can work for you. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
It's your favorite team. It's their favorite team. Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony bring you Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Every weekday from 10 to noon on 1010XL.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional and investment loans. At Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296. Find Salem, NMLS ID 1182429. Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguar season comes to an end. A loss on Sunday to the Buffalo Bills. The Jaguars finished 13-5. Let's talk about the Buffalo game. Let's kind of look back on the season that was, and let's take an ever so brief look ahead at what this offseason may become. Jamal St. Cyr of Channel 4, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Jamal, how we doing, man?
Man, Hacker, I'm doing good. I am doing good. It's been a wild ride this year. I appreciate you having me on every step of the way. But yeah, it has been a wild, wild ride.
Deflating for the fan base, for sure. I almost rather lose by 30 than lose in the fashion the Jaguars lost by. I mean, look, to me, Trevor Lawrence and the offense drive you down twice in the fourth quarter, including giving you the lead with 4 minutes to go. But at the end of the day, just like Cincinnati and just like Houston, defensively it was a great year, all told. But in certain instances, the defense could not get stops in the fourth quarter, and that certainly played itself out again on Sunday.
Look, there were mistakes at every level, right? Mistakes at every single level of this game. Yeah, the defense needed to get a stop in crunch time, and they couldn't. The offense needed to convert a 4th and 2, and they couldn't. Special teams needed to make a 50-plus yard field goal, and they couldn't. You can't make those mistakes against a really good Bills team in the playoffs and still expect to get a win. That's just the name of the game, Hacker. Some of the mistakes that the Jaguars hadn't been making on that 8-game winning streak, like blowing coverages, are things that showed their ugly head out there on the field in the biggest moment of the season. And you can't do that and then still expect to get out of there with a dub.
Jamal, I've often been told I'm a very old 42-year-old human being. Look, I understand what computer printouts may say, and I understand, analytics and decimal points, and that's all fine and well, and there's certainly a place for that. But, man, and I guess that's who Liam Cohen is, right? I mean, he's just going to keep doing it because that's what he believes. And I love the fact that he's here, and I think this organization is in really good hands moving forward. But, man, just kept going for it. Cincinnati, the game Sunday against Buffalo. This going for it on 4th down and not taking the points. I don't know. At some point, maybe get a first down if you're going to keep doing that. That might be a thought because it's very frustrating to leave points.